Hello and welcome to the 18th 2020 NHL Draft recap here at Scouching, and today we're going to be looking at the Vancouver Canucks, and this one should be pretty quick. I really was interested with what the Vancouver Canucks were going to do without a first and a second round pick this year, and I thought they came away with a pretty good crop, and leading the way at 82nd overall, they took a big swing on Yoni Yurmo. Now, Yoni Yurmo was a player I have been singing the praises of all year. Great puck-rushing defenseman, great skill, great skating for a player his size. And since he's been moved up to the Liga, I feel like he's been a little overwhelmed with the added pressure of that situation, so his processing time might need some work, and I think a big part of his game is going to be unlocked if he can just make the first play as it presents itself to him. I think he's more familiar with the under 20 pace of play where he can take more time, be a bit flashier with the puck on his own stick, but in reality I think he's going to need to simplify things a little bit in order to maximize what he's capable of. But man, there is a very, very good hockey player somewhere in Yoni Yurmo, and I'm really excited to see what he can do. At 113, they went to Shattuck St. Mary's High School and drafted Jackson Cuns, and I've seen him play a few times, and frankly, I don't really see it. When I look at the Shattuck St. Mary's team this year, I was really more taken with Artem Schlane, who actually went after Jackson Cuns, and 2021 eligible Scott Morrow on defense. Those two players I think are legitimate NHL prospects, and I didn't really see the same thing out of Jackson Cuns. Am I wrong? We'll have to see. But whenever I watched him play, I always came away thinking that he was the trigger man, finishing a lot of the work that players like Morrow and Schlane put together for him. It's not the end of the road for him. He's got some years to develop. I just thought there were definitely better players, especially on his own team, that were available in this slot. At 144th, they took Jacob Truscott from the NTDP. And I know that he has his fans out there. I'm not particularly one of them, but once in a while I see nice flashes of puck-moving ability and solid mobility for a defenseman. But I'm not really sure at 144 that he would have been my guy. He was more of the middle of the lineup to bottom pair defender for the NTDP whenever I tracked him, and I just didn't see much that really moved the needle on him for me. At 175th overall, they drafted Dimitri Lazarev, and I like Dimitri Lazarev. I think at 175th, it's a perfectly reasonable pick to take. I'm not sure how much upside there is to me, but when I've watched him play hockey this year so far, I've been impressed. He's a creative playmaker with some good skill and really shifty on his feet, but I don't really see a tremendous amount of pace to his game, and I think he's kind of limited in what his game could be at 5-on-5. But you get to hold on to his rights indefinitely, so who knows, he might turn into something down the road. And at 191, Victor Persson, I've seen him play a few times. I like his mobility. He's a decent passer, but I never really found him as much of a needle mover similar to a guy like Jacob Truscott. I thought someone like Måns Forsfjäll or Victor Mancini at the Swedish under-20 level would have been players that I would have looked at, but Persson does have some decent talent. He's a little further in his development. He is a larger defenseman, so maybe something can be extracted out of there for him, but I am more interested in those other Swedish defensemen that didn't go off the board in the draft at all. So for the Vancouver Canucks, I think overall they did pretty well, and I'm going to give them a 2C. I wouldn't be surprised if Jackson Cuns and Jacob Truscott and Dimitri Lazarev don't turn into anything, but Victor Persson does have the raw talent and fundamental ability to at least push for something in the future. But I am a big believer in Yoni Yurmo, and if he works out to the maximum of his abilities, I think that the future for him is extremely bright. He's going to need some work, especially between the ears, in order to process the game at a higher level, but the fundamental tools you're working with are excellent. So I really like this pick for the Vancouver Canucks, and I think it could be the highlight of their draft. And the rest of their picks, we'll have to see. I'm not a huge fan of any of the four players they drafted outside of him, but none of them are players that I would consider undraftable. So that's it for the Vancouver Canucks recap. If you really liked the video, you can click all the buttons below me so you never miss another video. If you really liked it, you could subscribe on Patreon or here on YouTube by clicking join below. You'll get exclusive data visualizations for patrons, a Discord server, as well as data sheets for hundreds of drafted and undrafted prospects across all 31 NHL teams, or you can pick up some merchandise from the Scouchwear shop, where 50% of all profits go to the Women's Sports Foundation. So that's it, and catch me in the next one where we look over the Ottawa Senators.